Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm Ross Benjamin. He's Chip Chirimbes. And as always, we're here to bring you some winners, couple free winners today in the NCAA Tournament for tomorrow, Friday the 19th. Before we get to that, this podcast is brought to you by the OSGA March Madness Bracket Challenge. And it's free to enter. And you can go right to OSGA.com, fill out your bracket. The top four guys, top four finishers, I should say. I don't want to assume they're going to be guys. There might be some ladies in there to make a score. The top four finishers will get paid. And if you fill out a perfect bracket, you get $10,000. So good luck with that, folks. OSGA.com. Costs you absolutely nothing. And while you're there, if you happen to register and be a member at OSGA, that's also free to do. You will qualify and be eligible for additional prizes in this March Madness Bracket Challenge. That's OSGA.com, March Madness Bracket Challenge. A lot of fun, folks. Costs you nothing, and you got an opportunity to cash in, as there'll be $1,000 total in prize money. Anyway, Chip, how you doing? Number one. Number two, you're coming off a good day yesterday. So am I. Tell the folks how you did.
Well, I've got my third straight winning day in NCAA playoff action. Kind of happy with it. My sole release yesterday was Richmond, come from behind winner. And I think for the most part, most of the public money was on the other side. Just roaring along right here, 2-1 in the NBA. You know, this is our time of the year. Big games, big money, big profits for players, and looking for the tournament. Today, we've got a free game for everyone out there. And, the NBA is rolling along as well as they start bumping each other for seeding position. And it's been a great season up until this point. So let's just continue right here, Russ.
There you go. 2-1 in the NBA, 1-0 in college basketball for Chip Chirimbes. Myself yesterday, I was on the other side of Chip's pick, and like I told you guys last week, this is going to happen on occasion. We got lucky and both cashed on the same game the other day, being on opposite sides. Not the case yesterday. I had Toledo. They went down. But folks, 3-0 in the NBA yesterday, including winners on the Cleveland Cavaliers plus 8.5 outright over Boston, the Detroit Pistons plus 5.5 outright over Toronto, and I had the Philadelphia-Milwaukee game under 235. That game was 93-93 at the end of regulation, ended up 109-105 in overtime in favor of Milwaukee. So huge day. My NBA picks now, folks. It's not all about college basketball, even though that's our main focus right now. But my NBA picks, 33-19. With my last 52, I'm currently rated number 5 in the country in the NBA by Sports Cappy. Anyway, Chip, and the NCAA tournament starts tonight. You have anything on tap for tonight that you can share with the audience?
Well, for tonight's game, I'm looking at the Bruins and the Spartans to be battling it out. That's the big national game. I think it's going to draw the most interest. Drake had a great season, and they're playing Wichita State. There's a lot to pick from with the NIT throwing games in there as well. But, the free pick, I think, is coming from the Friday batch. And I'm looking at Oregon State and Tennessee playing each other. I had a conference champion. And who would have thunk it, Ross? I mean, we have Oregon State, the Beavers, at the midseason. I didn't think they had anything in the tank whatsoever. Closed the season going 9-1 against the number. They're the Pac-12 champions. Ross, they beat UCLA, Oregon, and Colorado to get here, and they're a 12th seed. They were picked to end up 12th in the Pac-12, and I just don't see it here. Tennessee, what a heartbreaking loss to Alabama last time out, especially if you took 4.5. Some of us did. They blew a 15-point lead late to Alabama, 73-68 final. They've lost, but they bounced back after losses. They've gone 3-0-1 the last 4 times they've lost outright. I like playing against Oregon State here. Ross, their last win in the tournament was 1982. I know they're a hot team, 13-3 as dogs in their last 16. They've even played well on neutral sites, covering 5 of 6. But I just think this Tennessee has had a much tougher schedule and played much better competition. And I think after the way they blew that game to Alabama, they're not going to take any hostages. And I think it's a massacre here. The Beavers going to get pelted tonight, Friday night.
So you like Tennessee minus 8.5 over Oregon State. That game goes 4:30 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. I agree with you, Chip. I mean, I'm not fond of taking NCAA tournament first round teams that had to play 4 games in 4 days to win their tournament. There's just something about that. And again, you make a good point. You got a team that did not win their conference tournament in Tennessee versus a team that won their conference tournament in Oregon State.
Right.
And the team that didn't win the conference is an 8.5 point chalk. It's never that easy, folks. Common sense would tell you take the underdog, but common sense doesn't make money in sports betting, right, Chipper?
Absolutely not. I mean, like we said, sometimes you have to play the role, and I've said it a million times. Like sometimes I feel like the Antichrist out there. I'm looking at a game that's so ugly, and you and I have said so many times before, you have to make tough decisions in this business. It's easy to take the team you like. It's easy to take the better team. And I'm doing that here with this Tennessee. But to look at the circumstance, like you said, we have a conference champion in Oregon State. There's a hot team. This 8.5 number is very, very inviting. Bookmaker isn't giving you any gifts. I'd be very surprised if Oregon State covers this game. I think they're one and done. I think they're in shock that they're even where they are right now. So I'm going to take the Volunteers to just tough it out. They're much better. They were much more highly touted at the beginning of the season. And, they had Alabama. They had Alabama beat. They let it go. And I don't think they're going to grab the Beavers by the tail and hold on here. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, this perfect. It's a classic example of one team who's just happy to be here, and the other team, they want to make a run, and they're capable. So I mean, they're at least capable of getting to the Sweet 16, maybe further. So again, Chip Chirimbes is on the Tennessee Volunteers minus 8.5 over Oregon State in the NCAA tournament on Friday. And once again, folks, that game tips off at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. Now, for me, I'm going to use a total again today, for tomorrow, I should say. And I'm going to look at the Morehead State and West Virginia game. Right now, that total is 137.5. A lot of people don't realize this is the Morehead State team that's won 19 of their last 20. Again, it's in the Ohio Valley Conference, but to me, I look at the Ohio Valley Conference. You had teams like Belmont in there, who I don't know why they weren't even given any consideration as an at-large bid. They won 26 games this year. They didn't even make the NIT. Anyway, having said that, this is a Morehead State team that defeated Belmont in the Ohio Valley Conference Championship game, 87-71. And that's significant from this standpoint. Morehead State is 6-0 to the under this year, following a game in which they scored 79 or more. This is also a Morehead State team that's number 312 out of 357 teams when it comes to adjusted offensive tempo, meaning they play at a snail's pace. So, and they're going to be facing a West Virginia team that this season, when there's been a total of 130 to 139.5, they've gone under in 5 of those 6 contests. And again, Morehead State, if you look at their schedule, and especially during this 20-game run in which they've went 19-1, if you take out the 3 games against Belmont, who plays at a frenetic pace and is a high-scoring team, their other 17 games, they allowed 66 or less in 15 of those 17. So I'm going with Morehead State and West Virginia under the total of 137.5. That game goes at 9:50 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. So once again, Chip Chirimbes, Tennessee minus 8.5 against Oregon State, and Ross Benjamin, Morehead State and West Virginia to go under the total of 137.5. Those are our 2 NCAA tournament picks for Friday, the 19th of March. Chip, any final words before we leave?
Just go to chipwins.com and give me a call off the number 702-931-CHIP. That's 702-931-2447, Ross. We've got an NCAA package that you can't turn down.
And you can go to rbwins.com to get my picks right now. I got a 10-star top play in the NCAA tournament tonight in the game between Wichita State and Drake. And if you haven't been following me, let me fill you in. My NCAA 10-star top plays, which are my highest rated selections, 72 and 45 with my last 117. That's 62%, folks. That's a big sample size. It's also a hell of a winning percentage. And there's a reason why I rate these plays this high. Very successful in doing so. Again, refreshing my NBA. I'm number 5 in the country at sports capping right now. I've gone 32 and 19 with my last 51. And things are rolling right along here. And again, chipwins.com, rbwins.com. It's there. You're going to make a lot of money, and you're going to pay a little to make a lot. Don't forget the OSTA March Madness Bracket Challenge. Absolutely free to fill out a bracket. For winning, the top 4, I should say, finishers will split up $1,000 in prize money. And if you happen to fill out a perfect bracket, how about 10 grand? Anyway, again, that's OSGA.com to enter that contest. In any event, until tomorrow, when once again I'm joined by that handsome gentleman on the other side, good luck and God bless.